Sprawling open world titles like Skyrim or GTA offer so much flexibility, it's challenging not to mess around a bit. Or a lot. As a result, players might be incentivized to disobey orders, blow stuff up that they're not supposed to, or in some cases, misbehave with the NPCs. Even though we've looked at this subject before, our eagle-eyed fans found 10 more games that made players feel like a total creep. I'm Jess from WhatCulture, and here are 10 video game characters that react to you being a creep. Commenters edition. Number 10. The Receptionist, Doom 3. First-person shooters would not be anywhere near what they are today if it wasn't for hellish blasted Doom. Although id Software's magnum opus is renowned for revolutionizing the genre, it also deserves credit for popularizing Easter eggs. In each entry, secrets can be discovered, which can take the form of action figure collectibles or the decapitated head of the creator. And when it comes to Doom 3, the devs couldn't go 5 minutes without slipping in an easy-to-miss gag. After the anonymous Marine is transferred to Mars, a receptionist will present him with a mini-computer called the PDA, which will assist him in his mission. After obtaining the PDA, the beefy hero is expected to carry on to see the rest of the facility. But if he refuses to leave, the receptionist will get noticeably creeped out. If the Marine looms behind the employee, he'll write a message on his computer, which reads, "I would also like to add that this new transfer is exceedingly rude. He has hovered over me reading everything I type. Stop it." The Marine may have saved the solar system many times over, but that's no reason for him to be impolite. Number 9. The Shopkeepers, Soul Calibur 3. When Soul Calibur 3 players aren't busy forging empires, creating their own warriors, or slashing each other with oversized blades, they can head to the shop to purchase a whole batch of items, weapons, and armor. The establishment is run by 3 ladies, Valeria, Hualin, and Lynette. Although players can find plenty of artifacts here to aid them in their quest, there are some who visit purely to check out the eye candy. If the player clicks to leave the shop only to cancel, the ladies' animation resets, causing their chests to bounce. However, the developers know their fanbase would probably do this, and if players perform this action repeatedly, shopkeepers will grow angry and yell, "Are you really gonna buy anything?" before pulling a fighting pose. It's a minor detail, but it's appreciated. Number 8. The Spouses, Stardew Valley. There's something deeply therapeutic about Eric Barron's addictive farming sim Stardew Valley. It allows players to take part in many calming activities like fishing, tending to vegetables, and caring for animals. Unlike the majority of games, there is no physical danger. There are no death trap-filled levels, no lava pits, and most importantly, no enemies. Well, no enemies for the most part. You see, there are 6 males and females in Stardew Valley who can become romantically involved with the protagonist. Naturally, it's up to the player to decide who to be with, but if they're up for it, they can date everybody simultaneously. However, dating 6 candidates of either gender will trigger an event where they confront the main character in the tavern, saying how manipulative and callous they are. The player can choose to apologize, defend their actions, or sob their heart out. Just to make things more awkward, choosing to fool around will cause the girlfriends/boyfriends to shun you for an entire week. And it's hard not to feel like scum when half of the game's characters behave like this, especially when the player has to go out of their way to screw everyone over. Number 7. Kane, Near Replicant. Near Replicant centers around 2 heroes, Emil and Kane, who must restore peace to the world, which has fallen into disarray, as it so often does. Though Emil is steadfast and morose, Kane is the total opposite, swearing like a sailor and eager to throw down with anyone who crosses her path. With her killer combos and colossal weapons, this nimble minx will make short work of her enemies, including the player. By rotating the camera at a certain angle, it's possible to look at Kane in a way that leaves very little to the imagination. In doing so, the hot-tempered swordswoman will say something along the lines of "back off" or "catch a glimpse" before roundhouse kicking the camera. If Kane is ogled one too many times, she'll say, "Creepy bastard must have a death wish or something," before the screen cuts to black. After that, the sound of Kane beating the player to a pulp and breaking their neck can be heard. In her defense, she did give you multiple warnings. This interaction does technically unlock the Daredevil achievement, but it's not necessarily something you want to be proud of. Number 6. The Maids, Asura's Wrath. The developers of Asura's Wrath saw God of War and Bayonetta and thought, nah, that's not extreme enough, which inspired them to devise the most over-the-top action title possible. Like, the first boss is literally bigger than a planet. Although the titular demigod has a habit of fighting heavenly beings or punching his way through the moon, he does take a break every once in a while. Before squaring off against his former mentor August, the pair agree to bathe in a hot spring, where they're tended to by scantily clad maids. When Asura tries to fondle one of the attendants, August socks him right in the face before kickstarting their battle. But that's not all. While Asura is relaxing, he can zoom in on the nearby attendant and admire her barely covered body. If his eyes steer towards her breasts, she'll cover up and recoil in disgust. Not only is this a funny detail, but having a sneak peek will unlock the achievement, View of the Valley. Even if players don't want to leer at the woman's body, they'll be left with no choice if they want to obtain all the achievements. Life is just tough sometimes. Number 5. Joker's Girlfriends, Persona 5. Building relationships in Persona 5 isn't just helpful, it's crucial to boosting stats and unlocking new abilities. If Joker develops his relationship with any female character to the max, they'll fall in love, awakening an extra power that proves massively advantageous in battle. Of course, if Joker wants to awaken more special powers, he can date multiple girlfriends at once. If Joker dates multiple characters in Persona 5 Royal, a secret scene plays during the ending. In this sequence, all of Joker's other halves meet him on Valentine's Day simultaneously, only to learn he's been dating all of them at once. Unsurprisingly, plenty of harsh words are thrown around, but just to make sure Joker learns his lesson, the ladies beat the snot out of him before storming out. Even though Joker will get a ton of powers for pulling off this glorious deception, it's hard not to feel like a jerk after watching these women who you cared for and fought alongside call you out for your philandering. Number 4. Roll, Mega Man Legends 2. Despite the fact that the Mega Man property is very child-friendly, the Mega Man Legends spin-off seemed more geared towards youngins, since everything and everyone looks so darn cute. And yet the action-adventure shooter has some content which can only be described as racy. In the first installment, the Blue Bomber can find a batch of dirty magazines in the library. It's not even subtle, they're literally called dirty magazines. However, there's a moment in the sequel that's more shocking. After Roll informs Mega she's having a bath, he's supposed to carry on with his adventure. But if he chooses to walk into the bathroom, Roll will scream in embarrassment before ordering him to get out. Since Mega Man has always been portrayed as a noble hero, it's a little bit different to see him depicted as a peeping Tom. You know what makes the scenario more bizarre though? After dashing out of the bathroom, Mega Man pulls the same pose he performs when he completes the mission. Stranger still, the victory theme plays as if he accomplished something. What a weirdo. Number 3. Princess Peach, Super Mario RPG. Super Mario is renowned for its universal appeal, adorable ensemble, and cutesy graphics. For this reason, it's one of the last gaming franchises to be considered indecent. And yet there's one interaction in Super Mario RPG that left everyone befuddled. If Mario explores Princess Peach's bedroom, he can find an object titled Toadstool's XXX. Toadstool was the princess's name at the time. At first, it's easy to assume this is an innocent mistake. The XXX doesn't necessarily mean the innocent princess owns that kind of thing. But immediately after Mario finds this cryptic artifact, a toad will barge in and bribe the Italian plumber with a mushroom to leave everything the way it was. Why would he do that unless the mustachioed mascot found something unbecoming? If Mario looks at the object while the princess is in his party, she'll berate him for peeking, causing the deflated hero to hang his head in shame. For the remake, the princess's mysterious item was renamed as Peach's ... which sounds slightly better. But since it's never been specified exactly what this artifact is, players imagine the worst. Number 2. Yennefer and Tristan, The Witcher 3. When Geralt of Rivia isn't slaying wyverns, zombies, and giant toads in The Witcher 3, the hunter for hire can spend his free time wooing the locals. Though most of Geralt's trysts have little consequence, there are 2 characters he can have a lasting relationship with, Yennefer and Tris. If the white-haired assassin dares to pursue the 2 ladies at once, he can take part in a side quest called It Takes 3 to Tango. Firstly, Geralt must purchase a bottle of wine for the big night. After that, he meets Yen and Triss at the Kingfisher Inn, where they promise him a night he'll never forget. Unfortunately, it's not exactly what Geralt had in mind. Instead of lying with him, Yen and Triss shackle him to the bed. They then give our hero a stern telling off for two-timing them with each other before leaving. He's freed the next morning by his friend, but only after he's spent a bunch of hours mulling over his ungentlemanly behavior. Number 1. Oton, Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty. In our previous list, we looked at the moment in Metal Gear Solid when Solid Snake gawks at Meryl. However, this isn't the only time Snake was unable to control his carnal urges. In Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, the grisly mercenary must infiltrate a tanker in the opening mission. Inside the crew's quarters in Deck A, Snake will find a room filled with lockers, some of which contain posters of bikini-clad women. If Snake calls Oton while in this area, they'll talk about how they first met, with Oton hiding inside a locker. However, if Snake contacts his buddy while staring at the posters in the first person, it can trigger an exchange on the codec frequency, with the chief engineer asking, "What do you think you're doing, Snake? You don't have enough to keep you busy?" Although this exchange is funny, what makes it hysterical is Snake's facial expression. On the codec frequency, the intensity on Snake's face implies he's in the middle of, he's in the middle of something. Not only is this a hilarious Easter egg, it unlocks an achievement with just a sublime name, Snake Beater.